All right, here we go. Friday, Sportsbit Betting Insight today, June 15th. Pauly and Teddy, SBR Picks. I'm at Real Sportsbit. He's at Teddy_Covers on Twitter. Good matchup tonight. Red Sox and Mariners. Porcello against Paxton. We'll also preview the Detroit Lions. We'll recap what happened yesterday in New Jersey. Play of the day. We'll turn on the shot clock. I'll rip Matthew Stafford. All that coming up on a busy show. 2 weeks till we go on vacation as we're getting that much closer to football. Don't forget the Hall of Fame game a little bit earlier this year, August 2nd on a Thursday. So we're getting close to football, and we'll go over the Detroit Lions coming up. That was the U.S. Open we all know and love. Not last year at Erin Hills, but all hell broke loose at Shinnecock. Spieth 8 over, Rahm 8 over, Rory 10 over, Day 9 over, Tiger 8 over. Tiger, Day, Rahm, Rory, Spieth, looks like they all could miss the cut. Going to be bad for the execs at Fox Television and Dustin Johnson as we tape with the 2-shot lead as the wind was wreaking havoc yesterday, Teddy.
Yeah, and it's something that I talked about on another show that I did. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to talk about it here on Sportsbit, but the wind conditions for Thursday were expected to be nasty, not expected to be nearly as bad over the course of the rest of the weekend. So some of those very high day one scores could come down in day two. But that being said, this is the type of course, Paul, everyone was saying going in, -3 is going to win it, -4 is going to win it. It's not going to be the type of course that golfers are going to be getting, -7 on the opening day and on down the line. So fun off first round, no question.
Incredible. Tiger continues to take money. He hasn't won a major in 10 years, and it never stops, and he starts with a triple bogey on number 1. The putting is horrendous out of Tiger. Could be worse. He could have been that Gregory kid, 23-year-old who shot a 92. First time that's happened in 16 years, and only the third time at the Open since 1990. Hey, a little crow, Teddy. Lines out the door at Monmouth Park yesterday. Huge. They had 30 betting windows open, and they're 30 days away from having mobile betting.
Sure, I was wrong. But then again, the first day it's going to be packed. I understand that. But it's the middle of summer. Let's see how the excitement level goes next week when it's not the first day of betting, it's the 8th day of betting. Obviously, World Cup's going to bring people in, and people want to bet futures who haven't been able to bet futures. How exciting is it? Hey, I can get a Giants ticket, I can get an Eagles ticket, et cetera, et cetera. But, again, first day, there's going to be crowds. The numbers they're talking about for New Jersey, they're saying that New Jersey's handle is going to beat Nevada's handle within 5 years. I'll take the under on that particular wager, although certainly good crowds on opening day. Why? People love to bet sports. It's exciting. You remember your first time in a sportsbook, Pauly? I do. It was thrilling.
Yep.
I mean, the heart's pounding. You're watching all the TVs. You're checking out the board. It's the coolest thing you've ever seen. So, yeah, I'm not surprised there was a crowd yesterday. There'll probably be a crowd today, but give it a week or two. We'll see what those sportsbooks look like in the middle of July.
I think it's going to be packed. Remember, Delaware didn't have this kind of opening, not even close. 30 betting windows. They're getting ready for mobile wagering as well, and long hours. They're open till 1 in the morning on some nights too. They expect a $10 billion handle. Some of the estimates they threw out there as well. If things are going to go right, and it continues to go right for New Jersey as they finally get it done after the month delay. Second to Delaware. We'll see if New York can get their act together coming up. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Also, if you make $1,000 bet, you need a player's card as well at New Jersey with what happened at Monmouth. Vicious beat a Moose in Miami. The total was 8.5, bet down to 8. In the Giants game, it was 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th. The Marlins tie it, but the Giants get 3 in the top of the 16th. It goes over 6-3 final.
Yeah, and the ones where you get 3 in the top of the 16th, it's like, F you, buddy. Really? Really? An error sends this game, an error to blow the save, and then 3 in the 16th. And you're like, I got under 8.5 in this game? Please. The worst beats in baseball are going to come with bullpens and errors and that kind of thing. And boy, this game had both of them. That, a true Moose in Miami. Check out the Moose. He's an ugly guy.
All right, bad for the books. Giants took money too. Pudge's kid got to start. $1.05 up to $1.35. They finally beat the Marlins. Braves took money, $1.35 up to $1.70. They beat the Red Hot Padres. Fulmer's been great. He's found something here his last 4 starts. Hit 95 to 99 with the heater on a regular basis. Plus 110 went off the favorite, beat the Twins. Twins now bottom 5 in ROI. Cleveland under 9 down to 8.5. Clevenger pitched well, 11 strikeouts in 7 innings. A $5,000 bet on the White Sox yesterday in New Jersey as well. That's a coaster, 5-2. And the Astros take money now, 8-1 against the A's, $1.70 up to $2. Verlander and the Astros rock the A's on the road, 7-3.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch to talk about there, but Detroit's the one team that's definitely worth mentioning. This is a Tigers team that came into the season expected to be bottom feeders. And yet there they are, competitive through April, through May, making a profit for this. Oh, and then Miggy gets hurt. Oh, Miggy on a swing. You know, he swings, his elbow pops out. You know, you hear the locker room. They're demoralized after the game. They lose a bad game to Minnesota where basically they outplayed the Twins, but a grand slam home run did them in. You know, one bad pitch with 2 outs. And then from that, back-to-back games where Detroit beats the Twins, coming off of those losses and staying competitive. I give Gardenhire and the Twins a ton of credit for pulling out the last 2 games, and obviously Fulmer, a big part of that yesterday. And the books, you know, short MLB card on Thursday, the books lost most of them. It really felt like the bettors had the right sides, and the books took a beating, modest beating, as a result.
Yeah, Guardy's doing a nice job with the Tigers. They're hanging in. I'll give them credit. I thought, but it's just a matter of time before the Indians run away with that sucker. Now the Twins get Kluber, who's a big favorite at home coming up. The Mauer expected to be back in that one. Big game breakdown. Oh, excuse me. Well, we got the World Series of Poker going on right now here in Vegas. Not a lot of big winners in terms of the well-known players winning bracelets. What do you have on the WSOP?
This is what I got, man. You see what I'm wearing right now? As soon as I get off the air, we're getting in the shower. We're going to go put on sweatpants. We're going to play in the senior event at the WSOP today. That's right, Pauly. I'm on the wrong side of 50 now. You know, I like to play at least one event a year.
Wow.
You know, I don't play a ton of World Series, but when I win my way into the main event, and I'll play a handful of satellites, I've won my way in, I think, 4 or 5 times. I've never won the main event. I've never made the money in the main event. But when I win my way in, I'll play that. Otherwise, I like to pick, one other tournament that I get involved with. And now that I'm old enough, on the wrong side of 50, it's senior event time, Paul. It should be a lot of fun, 3-day event. I don't even know how many people there are. Yeah, it feels like there's 6,000 for this. It's going to be massive, but we'll see if we can make some noise. You can follow me online if you're tracking World Series of Poker stuff. Tournament starts 10 a.m. Pacific time, but, I'm probably going to be late. I'm going to take my time getting there. No rush. Because, of course, it goes all day today. And if you win to survive today, it goes all day tomorrow. And if you survive tomorrow, it goes all day on Sunday. But that'd be a nice little Father's Day present should we get there. World Series of Poker. I'll be in it today.
Yep. No doubt about it. Getting up there in age. The other thing, too, when it was announced with the Mexico, Canada, and USA getting the World Cup in 2026, it's like, Christ, in 8 years, I'll be almost 50. Will I be alive, let alone to break down another World Cup in 8 years? And the other thing, the flu game, the anniversary, that happened the other day. The anniversary was like 1997.
Yeah, sure.
When Jordan hit the game winner to beat the Jazz. It was that long ago.
Was that 97 or 98? I thought it was 20 years.
I thought it was
97.
Jordan
won. Yeah, it was 98. There was a second title against Utah in 98. Because I remember where I was watching that game. I was at my sister's house. You have oh, yeah, I remember. I was breaking up with the girl.
97.
All right, I'm
97. Yep. And they still talk about the push off and the foul, and then the bad pizza, I guess he had in the 97 finals. All right, here we go. Money time. Money time in a second. Mariners at home against the Red Sox. Great matchup. Speaking of money, both of these teams are top 5 in ROI. The Mariners are number 1 in ROI. It's Paxton against Porcello. Seattle's $1.45, 7 the total. Sick numbers for Paxton, and he's 2-0 with a minuscule ERA against Boston as well. Price pitched well yesterday, a great game, well-played game. They got the win, ended the Mariners' 4-game winning streak. And now with Porcello, it's been night and day. The guy who won over 20 games on the Cy Young a couple of years ago stunk last year, but he's back on track this year.
Yeah, he sure is. Let's start with last night's game. This is one that I had wrong. I thought this game was going to be a slugfest, and it was the exact opposite, a pitcher's duel throughout. Price, as you mentioned, 7 innings of 4-hit ball. Kimbrel in the scoreless 9th to get his 22nd save. And the Red Sox major league leading 48th win of the season. Manager Alex Cora, quote, "That was a pretty cool game, 2-1. That's a good team over there." On the other side, Mariners manager Scott Servais, they made big plays tonight, and we didn't. We had to somehow come up with the big hit, and we just didn't get it. So we've seen the Sox as big dogs a handful of times this season, at plus 130 or higher. This is the 7th time that Boston will be in this price range so far this year, despite the fact they have the best record in the majors. 3-3 in those games as dogs at plus 130 or higher. They beat Ohtani, LA. They lost to Severino and Tanaka. They beat Verlander and Morton in Houston and then lost to McCullers in that series. So it's not like we've seen the Sox in this role very often, but when we have seen them in this role, they've been earning a profit for their supporters. And of course, as you mentioned, Porcello has been pretty darn good this year in comparison to last year, much more like his Cy Young season in 2016. The quote from Porcello, 2 years ago is a long time now, it feels like. So it's hard to compare. I think we're doing some things differently than we even did 2 years ago. So I haven't really thought about what I was doing then. I know what I'm doing now, and I want to keep that going. Of course, remember, Porcello went from 22-4 in 2016 to an AL worst 17-loss season last year. MLB's high winner to MLB's high loser. This year, he's certainly pitching much better and much more like the 2016 form, which, good news if you like Boston at the plus price tonight.
You're talking plus 16 units on the season. People are wondering when Seattle's going to start to lose. Maybe it's not going to happen. Now, the Astros could run away with this, at least get a comfortable lead, because this next month stretch, they're playing bad teams, below average teams, and Seattle playing some difficult teams, as you see who they're taking on right now. But they just swept the Angels in the loss on Thursday. But I like them tonight because of Paxton. As I mentioned, 6-1 with a 3.02, but he hasn't lost since the first start of the season. And here it is, 2-0 with an 0.39 ERA and 3 career starts against the Red Sox. 9 straight starts, 3 runs or less allowed. Lasted at least 7 full in 4 of his last 5. Guy's been filthy. I mean, who does it? He had the no-no and then the 16 strikeout game too, back-to-back.
Yeah, he's one of only 2 pitchers in baseball with a pair of complete games this season. And I mean, if you want concerns for Paxton, he has thrown a ton of innings. He has thrown a ton of pitches. So that's, all right, here's a red flag if you want to find a red flag for this guy. But I'm not looking for red flags for Paxton. This guy is pitching like an ace. The consistency has been there. The dominance at home has been there. The track record against the Red Sox has been there. The ability to eat up innings has been there. I do have my concerns about Seattle's bullpen tonight. This is a bullpen. They were really used up in that Angels series. Again, intense situation last night for the Seahawks pen behind King Felix. I worry about the Seahawks. The Mariners pen behind King Felix. I got football on the brain, Pauly. What am I supposed to do? But it's a situation where I do worry about the Mariners bullpen late. Probably a little bit more than I worry about the Red Sox bullpen. I think they're in better shape, even though Kimbrel did go last night.
All right, Uruguay scores in the 89th minute to beat Egypt 1-0. No Salah for Egypt in that one. And we are 11 minutes in. And no 0-0 between Iran and Morocco. 9 straight clean sheets for Iran. The first half total was a half, over -150. And the total for the game was 2. So we had Russia going over yesterday 5-0. And under to start the day, Uruguay took some money as well in that match. And then this is the big one coming up in a couple hours, Spain and Portugal as well. That should be fantastic. We got a lot of comments here on the chat. Boy, a lot of them here. So many I can't even go over everything so far.
Yeah, here, I got one I got picked out for you, Pauly. Here, Brian Myers. They have to be open late, Pauly. Games don't get over until 1 o'clock a lot on the East Coast. That's a big advantage of being in Vegas, man, where the games end 11 o'clock at night. The last game's over. Extra innings maybe goes late, but back East, you're stuck, 1, 2 in the morning. That's a really good point about the books having to stay open for that one. WSOP, good souvenirs. Yeah, thanks, Gin Rummy. I appreciate that. What else we got? Felix doing pretty well. The price is through better. Rostradamus, under was a great bet there. Unfortunately, I had the over in that ball game. And the push-off game was in 98, exactly. The game where Jordan, that wasn't the flu game.
The 97 finals.
Yeah, no, that's the flu game.
The flu game. Do I have the? All right, God damn it. Do I? The flu game was the push-off, and the flu game was the same. Was the same game.
All right, we can't. I don't know.
It's the 97 NBA Finals, the flu game. It's the first thing that pops up when you Google it.
Was the flu game and the push-off game? All right, I'm going to assume you're right because you tend to be right on these sort of things. I believe you, Pauly. I'm wrong. How about that?
Well, all right. Well, forget. All right, maybe it was a different game, but the flu game, fine. The flu game was the '97 finals. That we know. That's what we
John
know.
Hagan,
All right.
say goodbye to the LA Angels. Kyle. Good luck, Teddy. Thank you. I appreciate the luck, guys. I'll take all the luck I can get today. What do you think of the Angels? The Angels done?
Yeah. What they can't. What's the report? The Pedro Gomez report. Is Ohtani done or not? They won't confirm it.
I didn't see anything this morning, but it certainly doesn't look good right now. If Ohtani's gone, are the Angels done? I think they are. And which means that the AL playoff race is set already. If the Angels are done, there's only 5 teams in the AL that are going to be good, and all 5 of them are going to be in the postseason. I mean, the Mariners have won all these one-run games. I don't know if that can go on indefinitely, but if Ohtani's done, I don't think the Angels are going to bounce back from that.
Totally agree. I'm with you. I mean, it's unfortunate. How about it's June 15th and the Orioles have 19 wins? How about that? How bad is that team going to be when you get September call-ups and they trade people at the deadline? They're terrible. They're like 27 units on the year.
They're not going to get a whole lot worse. Lewis Jefferson, no, Pauly, you're wrong. 2 separate games, bro. That's what he's claiming. So there's arguments in the forum. Let's talk Lions.
Push-off game.
Thanks for the comments, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Full game, 97 finals. There it is. Whatever. All right, we got to rock and roll. Detroit Lions. Here we go. Win total 7.5 or 8. Last year, 9-7 straight up. 8-7-1 against the spread. 10-6 to the over. They were plus 10 in the turnover battle, and that was 5th in the league. 30th rushing attack on offense. This Football Outsiders. 28th rated defense. 28th against the run. 9th in special teams. Patricia's the new coach. That's a tough sell. It was a hard sell to begin with at the press conference. You see this picture as they got destroyed in the Super Bowl and couldn't stop a nosebleed against the Eagles. And the New England defense was so bad. And here's the guy, right? That they couldn't do anything on defense in New England. Now he's your guy in Detroit. And then he had the off-the-field issues, which he denies it. So apparently that's behind him, but still cause for concern. Some of the moves, they bring in LeGarrette Blount, Matt Castle. I can't believe he's still in the league. Ebron leaves. But to me, someone is going to have to stink in this division, and it's going to be Detroit, the worst team in the division. The whole division's not going to go 7-9 or 9-7. And I think the Vikings are going to be awesome, and then Green Bay could win 10 games as well with their the win total at 10. The other thing is Matt Stafford, who absolutely stinks. Stat Padford has beat 2 teams in his career that finished the season with a winning record. Think about that. The last thing he is elite. Lazy, bad mechanics, throws off his back foot, relies on the arm strength. It gets him in trouble. Don't give me he hasn't had weapons. The guy had Megatron for most of his career and still couldn't do a damn thing. So a couple playoff losses, running the ball, that's an issue as well. But this guy, the amount of money they've paid him and the fact that he has only a couple wins in his career. I think he only has 5 wins in his whole career against teams that finish the season with a winning record. And then you see it's only 2. And one of them was when Case Keenum got his first start with the Vikings. Average quarterback.
All right. Clearly you don't like Stafford. The Lions are more than just Matthew Stafford. And, of course, it starts with what happened last year. This is a team that won 9 games last year. They were a playoff team 2 years ago, and they fired their coach, Jim Caldwell. Bye-bye. And I understand the media didn't like Jim Caldwell. He was quiet. He wasn't he was the antithesis of Matt Patricia in that regard, where he didn't make a connection with the guys who are reporting on him. He made a good connection in the locker room, and the Lions probably overachieved the last 2 years. That being said, the GM, when firing Caldwell, said, we have talent to win more than 9 games. We're supposed to be competing for Super Bowls. So that's what they're thinking in Detroit. That's the mentality from GM Bob Quinn. Now, obviously, when you're looking at the stats from last year, the running attack wasn't very good. The defense wasn't that good. They couldn't stop the run. What they were good at was creating turnovers. The positive turnover margin a season ago, a huge factor in Detroit. You say, all right, well, is that going to last? Well, Matt Patricia, and we put 2 pictures of Patricia in the clip here for a reason. Do you get the Patricia? There's a rough guy, and then he cleans up real nice. Patricia in the Super Bowl, and then Patricia at the news conference. You know, he's certainly a guy who, and this is important to note. Some allegation from somebody 25 years ago from in a case that never got prosecuted, that's nothing. Okay, it's nothing, and it can't be held over somebody's head. If it's prosecuted, yeah, if you got charged with this, sure. An allegation, come on, Paulie. You sexually harassed me one time. It wasn't any big deal, and I'm not going to talk about it now. I'm kidding, of course. But what I'm saying is that allegations are very easy. Investigations that conclude you did something, at least there's some burden of proof there. He was allegedly involved. There was an investigation that said we don't find
You're burying the lead.
So I don't hold
How about you do your homework and you find that out? How did the Lions not know about that? That's ridiculous. He was indicted, or he was at least what was the story? He was he was indicted. So how do you're the Detroit Lions, you're $1 billion business in the NFL. How do you not know this is going on in the guy's past history? Terrible job by the Lions.
Meanwhile, you look at this defense, and of course, you talked about the New England's defense didn't do that good last year. Lions defense was decent last year, decent enough. They had a bunch of guys that they wanted to bring in terms of re-signing guys. Zeke Ansel certainly stands out. Tavon Wilson certainly stands out. Nevin Lawson in that regard, all guys they were able to keep. And then, 5 new additions for this defense and some impact players. Christian Jones from Chicago, Deshaun Snead joining the secondary, Devin Kennard in the front 7. This defense looks pretty good on paper, even though they do have a handful of losses that are, from a season ago. It's a team that, ranked better than the Patriots in defense last year. But offensively, there are still concerns for Detroit, and it all starts not with the quarterback, Paulie, but with the offensive line in front of them.
I will say that now I think this is a bunch of bunk. This story by a local columnist who's saying he's already lost the team or losing the team because he's making them run after they do something wrong and the players are tuning them out. I don't care what Caldwell did before him. I mean, that's commonplace. So the fact that I think that's a ridiculous column that the Lions are tuning him out because he makes them run. So I think that's absurd. But again, it's a tough sell as he's your defensive guy when he was a DC in New England and they were so bad, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Caldwell was a guy who the players loved. I don't mean like. I mean, they loved him. They respected Jim Caldwell. He didn't yell at them. He didn't call them out. He didn't make them run laps after they screwed up in practice. They responded with back-to-back winning seasons, which Detroit doesn't have very often. Patricia's not a player's coach in that sense. And you wonder how well the veterans are going to buy in, which of course means, hey, we got to look at the young guys. What happened in the draft for Detroit? I thought they did a good job. Frank Ragnow, the number 1 pick, the center out of Arkansas, they need as much offensive line help as they can get. Kerryon Johnson, this is a team that could not run the football last year. 76 yards per game on the ground. Johnson, a guy who was reportedly chafing at Patricia's treatment of him, but guess what, Rook? Get used to it. And then a couple of guys on defense, and Tracy Walker and Deshaun Hand. Note the SEC complement of guys, where Detroit picking from down south, Arkansas, Auburn, and Alabama with 3 of their top 4 picks. They're drafting guys who have faced quality competition at the collegiate level, who should be, in theory, ready to go as rookies at the NFL level.
So the NFC North plays the NFC West and the AFC East. 2 extra games at Dallas, Carolina at home. Let me see, out of the gates, Jets at home. I don't know why that's the Monday night early game. That's ridiculous. And then it's difficult. At San Francisco, Patriots at home, at Dallas and Green Bay before the bye. A lot went their way. Plus 10 in the turnover battle. Rushing attack stunk. I don't think they'll improve the defense. What are your thoughts on the schedule before we do play of the day?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the Lions schedule, certainly from a numbers perspective, it's not an easy one. And then you look at how it plays out. They get the Jets opening day, and then at San Fran, New England, at Dallas, Green Bay, at Miami, Seattle, at Minnesota, at Chicago, Carolina. You don't see a lot of auto wins in that group. No surprise here if the Lions start off slow. And if they do, well, then Patricia's like, all right, who do we got for the future here? This is not a team I'm particularly bullish on when it comes to their season win total. We'll get back to this when it comes to play of the day time.
Yeah, all right, we'll do it. I'll do it right now because I pretty much said it, but under 8. play of the day, Lions win total under. I don't see how they go 9-7 in a tough division. And I think the Bears are going to be a lot better as well as they get some weapons for Trubisky. This will be the worst, last place team, the worst team in the division with the Lions, with a lot of things went their way, especially with the turnover battle, and you still couldn't win more than 9 games. Now to the shot clock, and Stafford is 30 years old, so you never want to say never. But Kevin Durant just said he could envision a scenario where he retires at the age of 35. So that's 5 more years for Durant. These guys make so much money in a brutal game of football. How long do you want to play? No one's like Brady, where he plays at that level in his 40s, and he can still do it. But with Stafford, if he plays till he's 36 or 37, that's probably the tops. He hasn't won a playoff game. Will he ever win a playoff game? When he's stuck with Cousins now in that division and Aaron Rodgers? Never want to say never, especially in sports betting and speaking absolutes. But it's going to be very difficult with a horrible organization and a bad run organization and franchise that he can see him winning. And his number one weapon and one of the top 5 receivers of all time is gone too with Megatron. I don't see it with Stafford. I think he's a lousy quarterback. It doesn't look promising that he'll ever win.
So here's the number. And we got a great comment in the comments from Triple Beams right here. Stafford, 13,000 yards. 66% completions, an 85-33 touchdown to interception ratio the last 3 seasons. Stafford hasn't missed a start in 7 straight years.
Who cares?
He's never had a competent coach or a great defense. That being said, he agreed on the under 8 given the division. But the concept that Matthew Stafford is a bad quarterback, Matthew Stafford can't win a big game. It's not just a QB.
Yeah, he can't.
Stafford has done. Hey, you get your 30 seconds. I get my 30 seconds.
2 wins on the road in his career against a team that finished with a winning record. That is embarrassing. Embarrassing.
Football has a 45-man roster. Matthew Stafford, we just gave his numbers. They're really good. Okay, not mediocre, good. All right, maybe not great. They're pretty great. But Stafford,
McCown's got good
comebacks. You betcha he gets the job done in the fourth quarter. He did it multiple times last year, making key plays down the stretch. The Lions' failures are not due to Matthew Stafford, and I do think Stafford wins a playoff game, at least one, before his career is through in Detroit. That's my take on the shot clock today.
All right. Sometimes I'm talking to Skip Bayless on the chat and the other stuff. Like, what, you think Andy Dalton's a good quarterback? You think Tannehill? Guys, anyone puts up numbers, and they throw the ball 40 times a game. Of course he's going to have numbers. Josh McCown puts up good numbers. Everyone puts up big numbers. Case Keenum won 12 games out of 13 starts on that run that the Vikings had. How bad was he in St. Louis and with the Rams? Nobody wanted him. Guy put up big numbers. I don't want to hear about the numbers of the fantasy as well. All right, very good. Fun weekend coming up. When we come back Monday, we'll recap the U.S. Open, more World Cup to discuss, and we'll do more the Vikings. This team's scary on Monday. Win total 9.5, bet up to 10. A huge upgrade at the quarterback position now. I know Thielen and Diggs are loving life with Cousins coming to town, and what that could be a scary offense with the Minnesota Vikings. We'll get to them and the Packers as well. Have a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Thanks for watching SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRpicks.com. Thanks to the crew.